And we're live. Hey everyone, I'm Marco. I'm one of the code mentors here at the Firehose Project, and I run you guys through the info session today. Let's see, what do we have in store today? So first of all, I want to run you guys through our core curriculum. I want to talk about how we customize our curriculum so it works with job seekers and career switchers, as well as entrepreneur alike. Then I want to talk a little bit about the support system, right? How do one-on-one mentorship sessions work? What about our office hours, the Q&A forum, agile team meetings? And then last, I want to talk about a question that I always get, which is like, Marco, what can I really do at the end of the program? What am I able to produce? And I'm going to give you an honest and straightforward answer to that question as well. While we go through that info session, make sure you ask me questions, right? A few of you guys already submitted your question via email. That's awesome. I'm going to go through those questions. If you have any other questions, either email me. All of you guys should have my email, or go to the Google Plus page and use that little comment box and go in there and add your question in there, and I grab the questions from there as well and answer them. All right, let's get started. The core curriculum, right? The full program is 15 weeks. The first 2 weeks, we do our Firehose intro, right? A lot of you guys who are watching right now are actually going through the Firehose intro already, working on your coding fundamentals, right? We teach you HTML, CSS, some Ruby code there. We basically make sure that you guys are ready for the full program. So if you're not on the Firehose intro right now, go to thefirehoseproject.com, look in the top nav, it says get started there, click on that, and you guys can start it, fill out the application, we set up an account for you, and we have your coding already. And yes, that's completely free. Once you've gone through that, we review your code, we give you feedback, how to refactor your code, how to improve it, and then we officially accept you into the full program, which is 13 weeks. Now, in the full program, what do? I think we start out with having you build a fully functional web application within the first couple of days. It actually takes 10 hours if you were to go end to end to finish that application. The application is pretty simple. It takes a quote, it stores it in a database, and it randomly displays it on the screen. Obviously, pack that all into a mobile-first design so it looks good on mobiles, desktops, as well as tablets, right? The goal is always when we build something, if you're at a party and you pull out your phone out of a pocket and show it to a friend, the response that you should get is like, oh wow, you built this? That looks awesome. That's the goal. That's the level of quality, the level of front-end development that we're always shooting for in the full stack development course at the Firehose Project. Now, that app, the first one that we're launching and building, is pretty simple, but it gives you like a 360-degree view of everything that you going to use, right? You're using the Rails framework, you're writing Ruby code, using Git for version control, GitHub to back up and share your code, using Heroku as the server, using a Postgres database, and a whole bunch of more tools that you need as a professional web developer. That's the first 4 days in the program. Then we keep the learning curve steep and keep moving on. So next we're building a Yelp clone. And I think the most interesting feature of the Yelp clone is the Google Map API integration, right? So we as developers need to write the Ruby code to take an address, translate that address into longitude and latitude coordinates, and pass those coordinates back into the Google Map API so we get that pin on the map. Obviously, just that feature alone, this wouldn't be a fully functional web application. So what we're doing next is we need more features, so we're adding them. For example, we want star ratings, right? We also want user comments. And now, if I'm putting my pizza place on that Yelp clone, it'd be really nice if I got a star rating and a comment on my awesome pizza place. If I get an automated email notification message telling me, hey Marco, somebody just commented on your pizza place, you might want to reply, right? And it's a really important mechanism, a good feature to know to always drive traffic and user engagement back to your application. We also obviously need to do user authentication, right? We need to log in, log out, create a user account. Then on top of that, we build a dashboard so users can actually get a bit of analytics, like how many comments have been left on their place, what's the average star rating. So we build that as well. That takes our students usually about 3 weeks to complete. Next, we're gonna go a little bit more real world coding and introduce test-driven development. For some of you guys who don't know what test-driven development is, let me give you the 1 or 2 minute explanation. Basically, as developers, we're responsible for our application to be working at all times. We don't want anything broken and go into pages that don't work, features not working. The best way to deal with this is making sure it never breaks in the first place. So rather than testing it manually, we want to test this automatically that everything is working on our site. And for that, we're writing automated software tests. Test-driven development kind of puts that on its head. We write the test first and then we build the feature. And that's the industry standard, knowing how to do that. And that's what we teach you right after you finish the Yelp phone. We go into that mode and actually write software tests and learn how to do that so your features are always working. It's crucial for job seekers and it's equally important for entrepreneurs because you don't want to ship a product that is broken or keeps breaking. You want to make sure it's always running and all the features are good for your users. So we're going to teach that. Afterwards, we build a fourth web application with you, and that is a two-sided marketplace where we have instructors on one side and students on the other side. Now, the students can go create an account and preview courses that instructors display and then buy them. They can purchase them via credit card payments. So we need to make sure credit card payment processing is working on our platform. And for that, we integrate with the Stripe API so we can process payments. The other thing that we're going to do in an application is we teach you how to deal with database relationships in a really deep level, because now we have a two-sided marketplace. We have instructors on one side, we have users on the other side, and we need to track on a database level who purchased which course and who can see which course and who can only see a preview. And dealing with that is at the core and the essence of how web applications work in the real world, and knowing how to do that is absolutely crucial. And that's why we're introducing that there. Other thing that we're doing is we're going to do a deep dive into JavaScript and actually teach you how to integrate JavaScript into a Rails application, into the Rails framework, inside of a web application, right? And so for that, we have several videos that we run you through, and then we actually apply that knowledge immediately to a feature that we're building. And what we're building is a drag and drop interface for instructors that they can reorganize their lesson plan accordingly. And they don't have to refresh the page, right? They can do that with, we call it an AJAX request. Right? Those are the 4 web applications that we have you guys go through. In parallel, we want all of our students to work on the algorithmic knowledge, right? It's really important that you guys know how to write really good Ruby code so you can go beyond the simple applications like a Yelp clone, right? Or a blog application. These are simple things to build for a web developer, and you will realize that really quickly how easy they actually are to build. So you want to move beyond, and you do that by algorithms, because algorithms power the world, and knowing how to do that is really crucial for your success as an entrepreneur or as a job seeker, professional web developer. Now, in the last 4 weeks, what we spent, or 5 weeks, is we actually we split the curriculum up. We have entrepreneurs on one side, and we have career seekers on the other side. What we then do is let's talk first about the career seekers, right? For you guys who want a job as a web developer and software engineers, we're going to put you on a group project, and we build a really advanced web application together as a team. Now, why as a team, right? It's really crucial because the saying goes, and that's absolutely true, is the best software is built by amazing teams. And you guys, you want to make sure you know how to be part of an amazing team. You want to be that high-impact employee from day one who knows how to integrate herself into a technical team. That's why we're doing that. What we're building is a chess game, right? And a chess game is really, really complicated to build. Just think about it. How many moving pieces there are. Just the logic to move the queen across the field and keep track of where the queen is located at any given moment. Not even mentioning all the other pieces, and then the king logic as well. And how do we detect automatically checkmate? That's complex to do, and the reason we're building it as a team is because it mirrors the real world with stand-up meetings, with agile team meetings, with check-in, with code reviews, with pull requests. Exactly. This is one-on-one what you're doing on the real world. And getting that experience while still in the program is key. It really sets you guys who are looking for a job apart from everyone else who doesn't have that experience, because you can demonstrate that to the technical hiring manager. Not only can you integrate business logic and algorithms inside of a web application, which is what happens every single day as a developer, but you can also work together as a team and communicate properly. You've already crossed all these obstacles that people have when they first start working together as a team. So that's why it's so crucial, and it gives you a real competitive advantage. And hiring managers definitely notice that you have those abilities, and you can actually demonstrate that on your GitHub and on your portfolio. Now, for the entrepreneurs, right, what do we do with you guys? People who have an idea for a minimum viable product, for their own web application idea. What we do with you guys is we start wireframing, drawing out every single screen of your web application, and start breaking it down into individual coding blocks. That way we can launch one feature after another, get user feedback, and consistently improve the application. You will work really closely together with your mentor to get that application out the door. Now, let's talk a little bit about the next step, the support system, right? So we're gonna have a Bill, one of the developers, making pictures of me giving info sessions on the side of the room. That's awesome. Great. So what do we talk about the support system a little bit now that the camera crew just left? Never mind. We're talking about the support system. Okay, we have several different pieces, right? We do have the Q&A forum, the mentorship sessions. We have the virtual office hours where all of our students come together, and we have the agile team meetings. So the first thing that I usually want to talk about is the Q&A forum. And usually people tell me, oh, come on, Marco, it's a forum, right? I have an error message, I put that in there, and I get my answer, right? We help you usually within an hour or two. But it's what that forum enables us to do, right? If you don't have any error messages, because we take care of them right when they happen, say you code on Thursday night, you run into an error message, you take the error message, you put it in the forum, and you get help immediately. It frees you up to focus on what matters, and you can move forward and keep learning. But more importantly, it frees you up to use the mentorship sessions for the full impact, right? You can get a senior web developer, a VP of engineering, to pair program with you. And rather than using that for troubleshooting, where they point you out, you have a comma here, you have a missing semicolon over there, you can actually pair program with them and go really deep in something that matters. That could be working through an algorithm together, building additional tests, building an additional feature that you really want to see on your own web application, right? Figuring out something that goes on a group project, figuring out the logic, the really hard pieces. That's where the mentors come in. Because you're error-free, you don't have to waste any time. You can cut straight to what's the most challenging for you and really get pushed forward onto the next coding level for yourself and improve consistently. And that's why the forum is so important, because you can use the mentorship sessions. Now, I talked already about the mentorship sessions, right? But you're gonna get taken under the wing by a senior web developer, VP of engineering, from leading tech companies, right? PayPal, eBay, Yahoo, Flickr. We have Y Combinator companies, mentors from Y Combinator, Techstars companies in our mentor roster right now. And these are the guys you can't access, right? We're filtering really heavily on the mentor quality, making sure you get the best mentors out there. And we're turning mentors away every single day because they did not cut for what the quality level that we're looking for. So you get that mentor, and that's the guy or girl who you're gonna be working with throughout the entire full program. Now, let's talk about the virtual office hours as well, right? I love the office hours. It's where all of our students come together. We can ask all types of questions, right? Career advice, what should I do when I go to the meetup group? Can you look at my algorithm? I have an error message over there. It happened just 10 minutes before the office hours. Can we go through that and debug that? I need to write a better software test over there. Can you look at my code? These are questions we're addressing during the office hours. And not only do you get help that way, but also what happens is really interesting is because we have students from the entirety of the program going through. If you just started out, right, you have people from the week number 10 talking about algorithms, and you get to listen in, you kind of see the paths like, oh wow, this is where I'm going. But you also, on the other side, if you week 10, 11, 12, 13, you're gonna have people who are asking questions for problems that you probably had in the beginning too, and you can kind of teach back. And that teach back moment is really valuable because it matters for you to solidify your learning in a different way. So I love office hours, getting together with all our students, the highlight of my week. We have that once a week. Now, for everyone, the career seekers, right, they're on the group project. What we have for you guys is the last 4 or 5 weeks, we have a weekly agile team meeting as well. That's where we check on updates, make sure you guys are on track and everything gets built according to plan and not missing important features. You don't have to run into any trouble. So you get that on top as well, that meeting with a mentor there as well, a technical lead for your group project. Now, that's the support system, right? Again, we have the Q&A forum that enables you guys to come error-free to the mentorship sessions. And then we have the mentorship sessions itself. And then we have the virtual office hours where all of our students come together, as well as the agile team meetings for the group project. We obviously have a Slack channel, Google Plus group, all that stuff as well, to facilitate the communication between the community of students. Now, the last question I'm answering before I jump in and answer you guys' question is, what I get a lot is like, Marco, what can I really build after I graduate, right? And that's besides you having launched your own application as an entrepreneur throughout the last weeks in the program, and besides you landing a job as a web developer. The power that you get, the skills that you get is the power to create, the ability to create your own ideas, to sit down for a weekend, and build your own web application and push it live to the internet. And that alone, I think, is worth everything. Like being able to create something and taking an idea and pushing it all the way out from thinking about it to reality and having users actually sign up and use your application idea, whatever it may be. Now, let me jump in and check some of your questions and answer them. That's pretty much it. Again, if you haven't signed up for our pre-work, for our Firehouse intro, go to theFirehoseProject.com, click on the Get Started button, and sign up. Spend a moment to actually fill out the application, because we look through every single one that we receive. And then we set up your account, and you can start coding for 2 weeks for free on your coding fundamentals. You get review, you get a forum, you get help, right? You don't get mentorship sessions, but we definitely check in with you and make sure you're all right. All right, let me check on some questions. And if you have some questions, as I said, submit them. I'll answer all of them. Okay, this is awesome. We already have get some coding submissions going here from some people. Great stuff. All right, what's the application process? That's a question that I just got. All right, application process, I kind of mentioned already, right? That is, go to theFirehoseProject.com, fill out click on the Get Started, fill out the form, you're applying for it. Once we have you in pre-work, takes about 2 weeks. Some people go through faster, maybe just a week, couple of days. Solve all the coding challenges, challenge sections. Submit that code, we'll look at it, review it, we'll give you a thumbs up. There's 4 coding challenges, challenge sections in the pre-work. Once you have submitted them all, we make a decision if we accept you in the full program or if we suggest additional materials that you need to go through, and you can come back later and try again. And once then, we make the decision to accept you into the full program. That is the application process. Okay, I was looking through here. It's like, oh yeah, so what's the weekly time commitment? That's another great question. Weekly time commitment is we ask our students to dedicate about 20 hours per week to the program. And with that 20 hours, that usually what happens is you reach that point where you're a self-sufficient developer, where you can help yourself, where you can look at open source code, documentation, somebody else's web application, and you know what to do. You reach that in an optimum time, right? Obviously, if you want to reach that faster, you can add additional hours to it. We have plenty of students who put 40+ hours into the program every single week. It works with 20. If you have more, perfect. We adjust the program accordingly and make sure you consistently challenge, right? Just to give you feedback of how we adjust our curriculum. We had just the head of developer operations from Indiegogo, right? A company that raised I don't know how many millions and is one of the big crowdfunding companies in there next to Kickstarters in the American market. And so he was the head of developer operations, managing 15 professional developers at a top company here in the US. And he went through our program and not once was he bored, right? We kept challenging him consistently and he was really happy. And he just graduated a few weeks ago. So that's kind of like, that is the one extreme of skills that we have, but we also have people who, sold cars before and went to us with minimal coding experience, and now they work for startups as the main web developer. So all of that is definitely possible. How the material is presented, that's another good question that I'm usually getting. The material are presented in several different ways. We have written guides, we have video instructions, we have live instructions. The written guides, we did that for 2 reasons, right? First of all, in the real world, everything, all documentation for an API, documentation for open source, how to use a certain framework is always written guides. Only very seldom to find actually that another developer made a video of how to use something. So you knowing how to read documentation is really critical for you to be a good developer. Now, our guides are written documentation with step-by-step instructions. So they teach you how to actually use written documentation to build something. It's really important that this is not videos because it teaches you how to be ready for the real world. Now, also the written documentation is really quick resource for you to come back and check on code, right? So for example, we see this time and time again to our graduates who have still access to all the resources, come back, log back in, quickly look up a 1 line of code, for example, how to integrate with an API, how to send an automated email notification. It's like, I need that 1 line of code. And I know exactly where I can find it on the Firehouse project platform, log in, look it up, and then I go into my work and use that line of code there, and I'm on my way. You see that time and time again. So it's that it's the real world is always written documentation, and that you can use it as a rich resource. Then we have videos, right? So videos we usually send to you at the moment when you need them. Is that for object-oriented programming, for the big computer science concepts that you absolutely need to understand, inheritance, some algorithms, some JavaScript, right? How is JavaScript actually different from Ruby code and how to integrate it into Rails applications. We have a full video section on that as well. We also use it for MVC, model view controller architecture, right? How are the building blocks of a modern web application? How do they work and how do they fit together? It's important to understand it from a high level. We can do that through videos a lot better than you reading more text. Then we also have the live instructions, right? Mentor sessions, you're gonna have an onboarding session where we run you through a few things that are important. You have the weekly office hours, you have the team meetings, right? These are all live instructions that happen as well. All right, let's look. Do we have more questions? Guys, if you have anything, there's a few coming in. Feel free to send me more. What's the difference between us and competitors? Yeah, that's a good question. I get that a lot, and I think the main difference is like you just can't get that real-world coding experience that we're delivering anyplace else. It just doesn't exist. It's like so. It's not really any competitors per se. Our curriculum is a lot deeper, right? We're covering test-driven development. We're going really deep on algorithms. We're going really deep on what matters in the real world. That group project, like 4 or 5 weeks together with 4 other people, and really or 3 other people as a team working on something that's technically really complex. That pair programming aspect, that really matters. And that really sets you apart as somebody who's looking for a job, or even if an entrepreneur and you choose to go on the group project, which plenty of our entrepreneurs doing because they realize after 6 weeks they already can build their own idea out with all the good stuff that they're learning in the core curriculum. And then the quality of mentors is just off the charts. It's like I barely have any reason to be on our team page because the mentors are so good. And so that kind of type of mentors, I said that before, they're coming from Product Hunt. These are Y Combinator companies, or Teespring, right? They're coming from PayPal. They have experience. Some of our mentors work at Khan Academy, right? These are top mentors you would not have access. They're assistant adjunct professors at like leading universities, right? They're coming from all over the place, from top-notch people, top-notch companies, and we're really filtering them out. So getting somebody like that to take you under your wing is crucial to actually get to where you want to be. All right, let's see. What other questions do we have? I think, why is the group project so important? That's another question. Yeah, I get that question a lot, and I said it before, right? In the real world, the best software is built by amazing teams, and you really want to make sure how to be part of an amazing team. So group project teaches you all of the real world coding that you really need to be a high impact employee from number one. So from day one. So doing that is really crucial, not only learning how Flow works as a web developer, but also how to use all the tools on a professional scale in a real world setting. That's why we're doing a group project, and that's why we're putting so much emphasis on it. All right, let's see, I think those are pretty much all the questions that I received. Guys, that was awesome. I think I'm wrapping this up right now. But if you have any other questions, shoot me an email. If you haven't applied for the pre-work, for the Firehose intro, go through the application process. I'll set up your account tonight or tomorrow morning, and you guys can start coding with us, and we can already start reviewing your code, and you can start working on your coding fundamentals, which is all that matters. That's pretty much it for now. Thanks so much for coming. Thumbs up to you guys. Stay awesome. And I hope to code with you guys soon. Bye now.